Hello, friends. Welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast, where East meets West. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Motley. And today I have a special guest with me. It is Ms. Connie Zack, and she is the co-founder of Sunlighten. Now, if you guys watch me in the mornings, I like to put stories about me going into the infrared sauna. One of the things I just really appreciate about reading about your story, Connie, is how it affected you and helped your family members heal. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I've heard so many great things about you, and I'd like to meet you is an honor. So, yay, let's talk.
Thank you. Okay, so everybody out there listening, the backdrop is I got to meet the Sunlighten team, and Vic was just so gracious and so kind. I mean, really, you can tell gentle spirits and gentle soul. And when there are products and there's, I say, the machines and the technology that actually can help people heal, I'm very intrigued by it. And there are a lot of questions about infrared sauna. There's a lot of questions about, I guess, the near infrared, the far infrared. And I want to go and dive into it. But I do like to hear about you, and I like to hear about the team. I hear about like your company, and we want to hear a little bit about you and how you got into it, what inspired you for this technology.
Sure. So it was a long time ago, over 20 years ago, but my brother was extremely ill, and it really wasn't until he found infrared that he was healthy again. So the little bit more in details of that story is the illness he found out was caused by his fillings in his mouth were leaking mercury into his body. And it was his dentist that was the one that recommended infrared. It's so hard to believe because that was so long ago, and nobody knew anything about infrared. And he said, my brother's name is Jason. He said, Jason, you should really get an infrared sauna, or at least like something with infrared fibers in it, and wrap it around your body. I've read that infrared may help support detoxification, and you've tried everything else to get that mercury out and nothing has worked. So this is definitely worth a try. And he did, and it changed his life, and then it changed mine. And I've spent the rest of my life with my business partner, Aaron, working on mastering the infrared technology, mastering the wavelength, understanding the spectrum at the deepest level, and then harnessing it and fine-tuning it to deliver the optimum wavelengths to everyone, so that we can bring light, hope, and happiness to people everywhere. And then our brand promise that the reason I wake up every day is to help people feel better and do more of what they love to do with the people they love to do it with, and live their fullest life.
Oh, I love it. And we want to talk about how your Sunlighten saunas, they do differ in many ways from others. And I mean, it's great technology and superior quality. And before we dive into the aspects of the saunas, I want to ask just what is basically infrared, and why would it actually help somebody? Like, and some people ask me that all the time, and they say, what does it mean, like if you have a far infrared or a near infrared? Can you touch base on that?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And there's so much confusion. So I'm happy. I'm going to give you an answer, but this is a place, if you want to like poke and dig in to make sure providing clarity for everybody listening, happy to do so. And happy also on that note, happy to do so, later on, 6 months from now too, if people start asking you lots of questions, happy to come back and to like dive deep, because there is a ton of confusion. I mean, it's crazy. And the more that I'm out, like, especially over a weekend, and I talk to my friends, and, it's in a social environment, and everybody's talking to me, and they're like telling me everything about infrared, and I'm realizing that they're not understanding, the wavelength. So here we go. Okay. So how I like to explain infrared is to kind of help people understand the difference between infrared and traditional heat, because everybody understands what heat is. So traditional heat heats the air, correct? And you get hot, because the air is hot. And there's many different heat sources. There's, if it's a really hot day, there's dry saunas, steam saunas, turning your thermostat up. There's lots of different ways to get heat, into the air, and then you get hot and you sweat. So that's kind of that process.
Mm-hmm.
Infrared is part of the sun's wavelength, the sun's light spectrum, and it's really special and magical because it's the part of the sun that provides so much transformation, so many healing properties.
Mm-hmm.
And what's special is it's not only provides heat, and I'll talk about how it does that, but it also provides one of the most important parts, which is light energy into the body. And then the third thing is it provides, if you do it, with the Sunlighten sauna, like what's behind me, it provides more than just one wavelength into the body. So it's a spectrum within a spectrum, the spectrum of light and heat within the sun's natural spectrum. About 55% of the sun's rays are in the infrared spectrum, in the infrared category. So heat, I want to go back to the heat aspect because when we talked about traditional heat, that's you get hot because the air is hot, right? So you know what that feels like. With infrared, it is a transfer of energy. It's energy medicine, essentially. So the energy of, let's just talk about far infrared for a second, because that light energy is converted into heat and you feel it by heat. The energy from far infrared is absorbed deep into your body, deep into your cells, into your water molecules and your mitochondria. And that's where all of the vibration of your molecules and your water molecule, everything starts to change and dance and move and flow. And all of that movement and flow starts to create all this magic of infrared. So that's just one of the 4, wavelengths. We can talk about all of them. We can talk about whatever you want, but that's a description of the difference between infrared. You're not going to feel, the air is not going to feel as hot because it's not as hot. So it's a different feeling. It's a very relaxing, restorative, rejuvenating experience. You enjoy it. There's no part in time when you're just like, oh my God, like this is really, really challenging. I've got to get out because I am just like, I have to endure this. This is not a challenge. This is a wavelength that is meant to be enjoyed and to transform the body with natural energy that's safe and necessary for all living things. So that's, and I'll add one more part while I'm talking about the feeling, because this is something that people are familiar with. So when infrared, how it feels is when you walk outside on a cloudy day, you walk outside, you're like, say you're going to your car, and all of a sudden the sun peeks out from the clouds and your body receives that energy from the sun. And it just almost feels like the sun is throwing like its arms, I'll say her arms, around you like a wonderful blanket. And it gives you this wonderful hug and you feel like, oh, I love that. Yay. Hi, sun. Like it feels so great. That's infrared. That's the body recognizing the infrared energy. And that's the feeling of, oh my God, this feels so good. And that's how you feel when you're inside your Sunlighten infrared sauna.
I love the way you just talked about like getting a hug, and truly within my sauna, I really actually feel very comforted when I'm in the sauna. And as unusual as that may sound, when you talked about the healing energies and the healing wavelengths within the spectrum of the red light, and you start to see how it can actually get into the tissue, I think it's a really great point that you said. It's not necessarily just trying to create heat as in to sweat a lot. It's actually there to basically affect your energy processes. And when we talked about like the different wavelengths, could you touch a bit about how it helps with, I know creation of energy, but the energy processes like within the cell? Because some say that the infrared helps with like mitochondria. It helps with like your energy production within your cells. Is that correct?
That is correct. It definitely helps with mitochondria. And that's probably, I always say my favorite benefit. I have so many favorites. Like it's like, a mother of 25 kids. Like there's no really favorite. You love them all. Not that I have 25 kids. I have 2. But
I was like, wow.
Whoa. 25 kids. You heard it here first. No, I have 2. But so one of the great feelings when you're in there, and especially afterwards, is that restorative energy aspect. So when you're done, you feel like you have so much more energy. You can just go. That's why you feel like you can do more, because all of a sudden you get out and you're just like, oh my gosh, let's go, game on. And that one of the reasons, there's lots of different reasons, but one of them is the way that the far infrared as well as near and red, the way those different light and heat energies impact your mitochondria. So mitochondria are the chromophores, so they react to light energy, and you have, millions and billions of mitochondria in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So when they connect with the infrared energy, it helps to produce more mitochondria, which mitochondria are, just to remind people, those are your cell engines, right? I mean, you can expand on that,
Mm-hmm.
from a clinical aspect. I mean, they're super important, and they're what help to provide energy in your body. And when mitochondria are dysfunctional, that leads to aging. It
Mm-hmm.
leads to lots of sorts of different complications, increased inflammation. And so you want your mitochondria to be as healthy and productive, and with delivering as much energy as possible, and have as many of those engines working on your behalf. It's like having a car without any gas,
Mm-hmm.
like great car, but if you can't go anywhere, what's the point?
That's true.
So yeah, that's one of the ways, and that infrared helps with mitochondria, which
I love it.
ultimately helps with aging.
Do that with the aging though too. Okay, so if it helps with aging, because they're talking about like anti-aging and
Yes.
longevity, I've seen there's been like, okay, my mom's Korean and I'm half Korean, and they're big in Korea
Yes.
about infrared on the face. And I remember, Connie, like, I mean, I had been there like 10 years, 10, 11 years, it's been a long time. And they had these, you guys have been at the forefront. I know you guys with the saunas, but I remember I didn't know a ton about it, but I would see them have these different things they put on their face. Like, does it help with anti-aging and longevity because it affects the cells?
Yeah. So both, the entire spectrum helps with aging with the skin. Um, Far infrared specifically helps with the skin and aging because it helps detoxify the body. So it helps purify and clean the body
Mm,
out. And that purification and cleanse of the body's toxins helps have the skin look brighter. And it creates that, what we call the Sunlighten glow. That's a detoxification glow. But then there's also the superficial benefit when you use near infrared, which is an invisible part of the infrared spectrum. You have to
mm,
get it by LEDs, so there is no heat. You do not feel it by heat. And that penetrates the skin the deepest, and it's superficially. So it provides this wonderful acceleration of cell turnover. So it's really almost like you're turning back the clock. Like when you were, young, your skin it regenerated so fast. If you got a bruise, that bruise is gone really fast. Or if you got a
mm-hmm,
wound, it healed fast. Like everything just heals so much faster because of the cellular process. Well, as you age, that slows down,
mm-hmm,
but infrared helps to accelerate it. So, and then there's red light, which is the visible part of the infrared spectrum that, again, it's not delivered by heat, just light energy. That doesn't go as deep as near infrared, but it also helps to boost collagen, boost elastin, get that cell turnover so that when you put something on your face, you're going to get this beautiful superficial kind of exfoliation, right? The cell turnover. So when you're done, you look more youthful. And so if you combine it all, if you combine far, mid, near, and red for your skin, to me, I mean, it's like the ultimate skin beauty
mm-hmm.
tool. It is like, if you're going to have one skin beauty tool, like it would definitely be your Sunlighten sauna, because you get all of that detoxification, decreased inflammation, which makes your skin look better, and then you get the surface level repair from near infrared and red light, which makes your skin look better. So, and then, I mean, when you're finished, you get this just like beautiful, kind of new, youthful,
Yes,
glow.
the
So
glow.
it's, yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I have a t-shirt that says I'm a glow getter.
No, I'm a glow getter. Okay. Now, I mean, seriously, that is truth because I've had a few patients that have had suffered from, like, they had really severe acne when they're younger. They've had different skin maladies, and they have their infrared sauna. They love your products, and one of the things I've noticed was that their skin had a glow, like they had more healing, and it occurred like after a small amount of time when they would come to the office, and you don't see the patient for a little while, like if they went on trips and such, and they come in, I'm like, wow, your skin looks really, really, really good. Like, what did you do? And you think, maybe they went out in the sun more, and they went, no, I just been in the Sunlighten sauna like more. And that's when I really started to dive deeper into like collagen formation and collagen healing. So when people know that, I think just for the effects on the skin, to me, is one of the best benefits. Not only because you look good, but I love the way you said it with the collagen. I can't tell you how many people have used infrared and red light to just help build collagen within their tissues. Now, I'm not trying to like get sidetracked, but you talk about skin repair, looking better, feeling better in the way you look. But there's a lot of people that come into the office though, Connie, and that have chronic infections like Lyme infections, and they've had these things that injure their joints. And there's a lot of like, they may have been injured in a football accident. Can you touch on how not only does it help your skin repair, but it can go into the deep tissues like the joints and such, and actually help with like things like arthritis? And because I've seen some people that have had arthritis, and they swear by their infrared sauna.
Yeah, so that's really the impact of the mid and far infrared together. Mm-hmm. So they work really great together for muscle recovery and tissue repair, and helping essentially get people back on their feet, or back to the basics before they got injured. And one of the ways that it does that far infrared helps to activate a gene in our body that controls inflammation. So when you're receiving, and again, it's back to that absorption, which is what I really want people to understand about the experience, because it's not about hot air, the temperature, what's happening in the air. It is so not about that at all. It is about the connection between that wavelength of infrared and your body, and that transfer and that energy medicine. I mean, it's like going for a sidetrack for a second, going back to the hug analogy. There's a reason that when somebody hugs you, a lot of times that you feel better, right? Like,
yes.
A hug is energy. Like, you're getting that transfer and that connection, and it's the same, just that wonderful like feeling that we all like love. Everybody loves a hug.
Completely. Like when we talk about a hug, okay, this is not to get sidetracked, but everybody out there listening, one of the coolest research that I've seen on infrared, the near, the mid, the far, was its effect on lymph nodes. And one of the things, like in German new medicine, they would talk about how certain lymph nodes, guys, like the certain lymph tissue in certain parts of the body, are deeply connected to the psychology or the mind of the person. And one of the biggest ones was underneath the armpits, and how the axillary armpit lymph nodes can get congested because a person may not feel like in a relationship, they don't feel valued. And you think about it, because there's no compression on the lymph nodes around the arms. They're not getting hugged enough. They're not getting enough compression around their chest. They're not feeling that in their heart and their mind. And when you think about lymph node healing and about, like you say, feeling a hug, it's almost like getting a hug without getting the hug, when you go into an infrared sauna. And does it affect your lymph tissue? Like, I felt it in my body, and I've seen people with their lymph node congestion has really healed up with infrared. Does that happen?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it really, the analogy and the way I like to describe the way infrared, to make it simple, works on your body is it's kind of like the key that unlocks things that are stuck, because it promotes flow, it promotes circulation, it promotes oxygen flowing into your body, which is great for your brain. I mean, it's great for your entire body. It's great for athletes, that's, your increased heart rate, which is great for increasing your blood flow,
Mm.
and decreasing inflammation. So, it just really helps those areas where people are, so you use a non-clinical word, but, just stuck, and
That's right.
helps to loosen everything up, and, promote that flow and that movement, which is what I was describing at the very beginning. When far infrared is absorbed into the water molecules, it literally starts to move your water molecules around, and they start to dance and vibrate. And that starts an increase in your core temperature. So, and then that increase in your core temperature helps to activate your heat shock proteins, and the activating of your heat shock proteins helps to make your body stronger, and helps to boost the immune system. So there's just this biochemical cascade of events that literally impacts every single system, of our body, and all of our cells. And I mean, there's just, I was, when we talked about the skin, I agree, like there's no better beauty tool to have. But, and then you start to talk about all of the different systems and the cellular repair and the entire body and the way it impacts it. It's just a really great, safe, natural, whole body longevity tool to use in the comfort of your own home. And it feels good. So it's not
Great.
something you have to like suffer through or be like, okay, I've got to go do this today. I mean, I've had plenty of workouts over the years. It's like, okay, I'm going to go to this, and I will love it when I'm done. But while I am in it, I'm just doing it to finish.
That's true. It's like you never feel that way when you get to the sauna, right? You never feel like there's no like I have no whenever I think about turning on the sauna, and it's like bliss. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have some bliss within a few minutes. And I have to go back when you talk about like the glow. When I really started using the sauna heavily, and I'm not just saying this, Connie, I've had, and I'm not talking about myself. Please don't think I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm saying people have seen. I go to the coffee shop, gone to some friends, and they go, "What, man, you're glowing!" Like, and I'm like, well, thank you. I'm getting a little older, and I appreciate a little love. And truly, people say, "What have you done?" I was like, "No, I've really increased with Sunlighten sauna. That's what I've done. It's I've really like made sure that it's becoming my daily routine." And when we talk about looking good, I think it also helped, like you said, the vascular system feeling the hug. And like my family's had issues with strokes, heart attacks. And one of the things that I was so intrigued with and really, really happy about with the sauna and your technology was like its implications with helping the cardiovascular system. Can you talk to some individuals about that? Because I think it's really important.
Yeah, that is out of all the different conditions or states or issues or however you want to term it, the cardiovascular system has the most clinical research supporting it for the longest amount of time. In fact, quick side story, we're kind of good at those right now in our conversation, which I love. I love speaking in side. Yeah. So quick side story, back over 5 years ago, when I realized and I saw my brother, essentially like change his life with his infrared sauna, I started doing research because I was at Procter & Gamble. I was in the pharmaceutical area. And this is before the internet was big. So I was doing it the old-fashioned way, but I had access to it. So it was awesome. And when I was pulling up infrared and I was pulling up research, it was jaw-dropping how much research had already been done. And the jaw-dropping part was because, again, I was in pharma, and I was actually one of the divisions I worked in was trying to bring antihypertensives to market, and then marketing it and selling it, blah, blah, blah. And I knew firsthand the challenges of helping the heart be healthier, how like helping the heart lower blood pressure without giving the person tons of side effects, because you can lower blood pressure. That's not a challenge, but how do you do it without changing your libido and your energy and your brain and your desire and all those different things. So what I noticed was not only the impact, but it was the significant impact of these studies on the heart with just delivering infrared, such as coronary artery disease, helping with congestive heart failure, helping to change and strengthen the endothelial lining,
Mm.
helping to maintain healthy blood pressure, helping with your triglycerides, with cholesterol, with all of these key biomarkers that lead to a healthier heart. And then over the years, once we started, the business in our basement, I found Wayon therapy, which is probably my favorite out of all the cardiovascular research. If anybody wants to dig in, you can Google WAON,
Way on.
Wayon, and that stands for soothing warmth. And it is with infrared. And what I love about it is there's so many studies on essentially how it can save lives. I mean, there's one study that compared people who used Wayon therapy or infrared therapy versus not, and it led to a 50% reduction in
Wow.
hospitalization and death. So, I mean, this is like really meaty science. This isn't just like, hey, this, you helped with one or two things. I mean, hospitalization and death is a pretty big deal. And then there's other ones. It helps with your exercise, with the heart, specifically Wayon. It helps you be able to exercise longer, and it helps you with your mental quality of life scores, and really just helps the heart overall be healthier by changing all the different things that could lead to a dysfunctional heart through plaque buildup, lack of flow. I mean, so
Mhm.
much of this goes back to the flow of everything in the body, right? Like making sure everything is functioning. That's why people feel good after exercise, or a walk.
Mhm.
It's because you're getting everything moving and you're getting the flow, and that flow of energy and that blood flow is starting to also increase your oxygen. Your brain feels better because you're getting, you're able to get rid of some of that, mind fog, because you're getting more oxygen to your brain, and your heart feels better because you're helping to, increase your heart rate and get your body, your body feels better. I mean, everything feels better. And so infrared is similar. We call it an exercise mimetic because it's similar to exercise without actually doing the work.
I I would agree. I actually feel like I almost get like a little bit of an exercise high after I do it for
Yeah,
a while.
me
It's
too.
kind of unusual. Like I didn't expect that though, Connie. I mean, I would get out and I go, I actually felt kind of like that runner's high, whenever when I used to run. And with this involved, like it's healing the heart. I always thought it was really cool that as I'm in there and I've done it, I've seen when you talked about passion, one of the things that I think I've seen with patients that I've utilized infrared was not only their effect on their heart, but it's really shown a lot of positive effect on the kidneys. And I know that doesn't mean a lot to most people, but there's reports about most of every man in the United States is at some point is going to have some kind of prostate issue or prostate cancer. And now in the Chinese medicine world, they would say like the healing of the heart really helps the healing of the kidneys and vice versa. And once you take pressure off the heart, which is beautiful, like you actually give the body some warmth and say, hey, I'm taking care of you and I love you. And you're talking to your heart and your heart's like, hey, this gal likes me and I'm going to heal. And it in a sense takes pressure off the kidneys. And anytime I've seen patients, because I see quite a bit of patients in the day, and I'm still in full time practice, and you'll see the patients come in and they've done it, and they're like, man, their kidneys are clearing up. So it's not just like heart. I'm just seeing people with I'm not saying it cures it. I'm just saying I've seen people with UTIs, bladder infections, and those things are clearing up. It's amazing to me. And I think it's like the Shen, the mind of the heart. You're seeing people like their hearts are getting more passion, like I have more direction in life. And people out there may hear it though, Connie, and be like, I mean, you guys are getting a little bit out there. And I'm like, I may sound that way, but like you just said, if you have something that gives your body a hug and you're communicating with your body and like you're doing an exercise and you're taking the time for yourself, that's one of the biggest things I think with it. Is that it? I mean, you really are taking time to love on yourself.
Right. You're right. The whole self-care. I mean, it is I keep saying it's like the best for beauty. It's the best for whole body longevity hack. It's the best for self-care. I
Oh
mean,
yes,
like
yes.
we could do a whole show on infrared and self-care. I mean,
Let's we'll do it.
yeah, it's just it's so good. The number one thing I can't think. Number one of the best infrared self-care connections is the fact that you're able to do other things that matter to you and are meaningful to you and that love you back when you do them while
Yep.
you're inside your sauna. And that to me is such great self-care. You don't get to do that when you're, a lot of times going for a run. I mean, I love to run, and I do get, that runner's endorphin, and I love that feeling. But while I'm running, I can't accomplish a lot of other things, but I can when I'm inside my Sunlighten, which is it's just a great way to really take care of yourself and give yourself gratitude and self love and or love on somebody else and have it be a sense of community space as well.
Oh, I agree. I think when you're in the sauna, like, the one thing that I really appreciate is running all day, and we can tell ourselves this, right? We can say, "Oh man, I don't know if I have enough time," and then you start to get in that habit, and you start to like literally close your eyes and feel the warmth, and you literally are telling your body's like, "Thank you," like, and you feel it, and you feel your body tell you thank you, and you're like, "Yeah, I do deserve to take some time to myself, and I do deserve to show a little TLC." And thank my body for what it's done. I was like, and people, I'm like, this is how I had to get over it in some way. I felt great and amazing, but you think, oh, I need to do more. I need to go out there and do more. And I'm like, well, the only way you're going to do more, dude, is if you actually take care of yourself now. And we'll do a podcast on that. And the stillness is what I truly love about it. That's probably, I mean, of course, every benefit, but it's teaching me to sit still. And if and I you and I know people, Connie, out there that just need to learn how to sit still, and I don't say that lightly or sarcastically. And so the one when we sit still, and again we go on these side trails. I love it because it's a good conversation. When you are telling yourself you love yourself and you're feeling it. One of the things I've also seen is that when I sat still, I actually felt very like meditative and I almost felt like I go to sleep. It's not like just, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. It's actually like, I felt like I slept better and I felt like I was getting more into like a deeper sleep. And this is a crazy thing. I don't dream that much. And when you put your Aura ring on or put one on and you're like, man, I don't reach that. I know I'm at higher cortisol levels with the practice, but the one thing I have noticed is I'm starting to hit my REM. Does that mean something with the infrared world?
Well, we haven't been able to dig specifically into REM and infrared specifically. We do have some stuff in the works, which is super exciting. Some partnerships that may be able to deliver that data. But what we do know for sure from everybody reporting back. I mean, I've heard this so many times. Is man, I had the best night's sleep when I did, my sauna. And I remember a guy telling me, who was it, just not too long ago? And he's like, I was trying to figure out he's like, I'm not a good sleeper at all. And I was trying to figure out what did I do differently. And he's, I remember who it was. It was somebody here locally in Kansas City. And he went to a local day spa here. It's in downtown Kansas City by the plaza.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he said, like, he felt great. He's like, it was great. It was a good experience. Like, I enjoyed it. He's like, but the impact came the next day from the sleep, because he's like, I was like, he slept, all of his data. I don't remember if he did Aura or, Garmin or Apple or whatever, but it said his data was amazing. But most importantly was how he felt. He said it was the best night's sleep that he had ever had. And he immediately, he reached out, because we know each other through local business owner connection here in Kansas City. and like a YPO connection. And so he's like, I have to get one of these things. I mean, literally, it was like one session. He's like, I slept. He's like, and I didn't change anything else. There was no other changes. It was just that one thing. And I feel like $1,000,000 today. I feel like I'm just like I have so much more energy, and I had the best, most restful night's sleep. So that's, I mean, obviously just one of thousands of examples. But so we do know overall sleep. To answer your question specifically, I can't dive in, and I really can't ethically say, it's going to help produce more deep, light, REM, that kind of stuff. I just know overall that sleep has been a tremendous benefit. And people who have tracked it, like I used to track it on a Whoop, and I track it obviously I wear Garmin now. They notice a connection as well. And I always put it in my notes the days I saw it, and then I can tie back to my sleep score.
I mean, I know like you said, we can't like say we had research that definitely said you had it, but I will say personally, I mean, I know it's changing my sleep patterns, and it's helping me so much. I mean, to the point where, when I had Lyme infections, I had Lyme disease when I was like 13, 14. That was one of my biggest things. I went through a nest of seed ticks, and it got all on my legs.
Oh.
I think I had about 60 on me, and like 30 of them were like 30 or 40 were attached. 30 between, I think it was like right at 30 something. And I remember because I was a nerd and I counted, I was like, okay, so, but one of the things I always had was leg weakness. And this is like, it helped whenever I started doing different cleansing and started cleaning up my Lyme, and it was great. But one of the cool things, like as I was doing infrared, these people may think it's like it's not scary. It's like I could feel like my cramps in my shin muscles not come back, but I felt a good fatigue, like you did a workout. And I'm a mechanical type person. I'm like, why would that feel that way all the time? I was like, no, that old injury, those infections in those muscles did a lot of damage. And I know we can't make claims about but I'm telling you, it's been healing my legs. I can tell that because I stand all day, and I can feel like I can go even further and longer standing. Because if it's 12 or 13 hours a day, you gotta get some strength. So not only is it helping cardiovascular, and in my opinion, helping sleep, but I can tell that it's actually helped boost immune. Do you find that people, like their immune system gets, a little stronger, a little healthier with this?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and clinically it's because you're creating a state of hormesis into the body, otherwise, known as like shocking the body, because you're heating the body up. So you're introducing something that's, foreign to the body, and that's a shock to the body. It's like, I always give the analogy of when you lift weights, and you're changing the look of your body, and you're shocking your body, and sometimes, it hurts. That little bit of, I should say little bit, but that pain is going to, lead to a stronger muscle, over time. And that's the same thing that happens with our bodies when we introduce infrared and stay in there and are consistent, over time. You're going to make your immune system much stronger. You're going to activate your heat shock proteins, and just create a better defense mechanism for your body, so that when colds or viruses and different types of infections are connected to your body, you're protected. That's how I always look at it, is like I'm creating this armor inside my body, these like little warriors of my cells that are ready for any type of tumultuous situation, and they're going to be strong, and they're going to fight on my behalf, because I've done the work of creating a strong protective environment with using infrared energy, not only the far and mid, but the light energy as well, because that helps to protect your mitochondria, boost the immune system as well. So yeah, there's lots of benefits and lots of ways to make your body healthier and feel great while you do it, because that to me, that's when you peel back and you're going to get away from all the science, and you get away from the studies, et cetera. It really is, a healthy habit. When you start to introduce something that you haven't done before, if you don't feel great doing it and afterwards, it's probably not going to be a habit. You'll get through it if for a little bit, but over time it's not sustainable. And what I love is I feel great while I'm doing it, and I feel even better when I'm done.
Oh, I'm with you. To me, it's one of the thank yous that you can actually give your body, because during the day, for everybody listening, I want everybody out there to sort of round up the amount of time and hours and minutes that you spend inside. And you're inside all day, most of us. Some are not. And you are in a toxic environment, not saying people. I'm saying it could be like a lot of EMF, a lot of things that we're experiencing, right, Connie? And then you have all this inside time. And when do we get done with work? Usually we don't even get out and get any of that beneficial red light, I believe, right? And to me, it's like being able to take the effects of, being outside in some ways to help heal my body. Do people report that? Like, I just feel like I missed the day outside, and then when I get done, I'm like, oh, I got some benefit. Like I, at least got the benefit of the light spectrum, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's that feeling of if you're in your office all day and then you walk outside and you see the sun, and like that feeling I was talking about earlier. It's like, your cells in your body's like our bodies are natural solar panels, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we're created with a ton of chromophores that need light to activate and to function. So our body responds, and we need that. And what we've done at Sunlighten is we've brought that healing, infrared light energy and heat energy inside, so that you can enjoy the benefits. So if you can't get outside, and you have a Sunlighten, you can at least go inside your Sunlighten and get all the benefits of being outside in the sun, and receiving that heat energy and that light energy in the comfort of your own home.
Okay, so we're talking about, feeling as though you've gotten some sun from the outside. And I want you to describe with the sunlight. I've got such a great impulse. Like I have like that you're sitting beside, and it's like a full spectrum, and it has different lights that come on, like different colors. And I definitely can tell the difference. Can you explain some of that? Like when you see different colors and different lights and different spectrums?
Yeah, let's talk about all of that for a second. So that's two different actually questions. I'm going to answer them. Let's see, how will I answer it? So let me answer color lights first, and then I'm going to answer this infrared spectrum, which also has colored lights. So it's talk about a little confusing. That's so the first is inside the sauna, inside all of ours, we have the ability to change the lights up above. So instead of having, white light, you can pick and choose the color of your choice and whatever you respond to. And colored light has been studied for many, many years. And, um, people respond differently. That's why they paint rooms in their homes different colors,
Mm.
because different colors produce different feelings and emotions, inside their body. And so they want to have one room that's blue, so it's calm, or they want to have another room that's, red, so it's fiery, and so we've done that, and that does evoke different emotions and different feelings. And everybody's super passionate about whatever color that they respond to, that they engage with. And then, so that's one aspect. And then the other, and that's all about what I just described, is all about color. Okay.
Mm.
It is not about infrared energy. So there's a
Mm. Mm.
difference. So now I'm going to switch to infrared energy and visible light that is colored. Okay. So it's totally different. So let me say it a different way. So if you had, we call it chromotherapy or colored light therapy, and it's usually typically above in the ceiling where your normal lights would be. That that energy, that those lights are not going to provide the same uh, mitochondrial function, the transformation, the boosting collagen, boosting elastin, those scientific changes, which requires a transfer of energy and an energy change into the skin. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't happen with colored light. So colored light is more about mood enhancing and
Mm.
changing the way you feel. Okay. So now we're going to switch to infrared, and I'm going to just really quickly summarize that spectrum and then mention the colored aspect so that everybody's on the same page. So far is light energy that's converted to heat that causes you to sweat at a deep cellular level. Mid doesn't go as deep. It's also heat. That's the one I talked about earlier. That's great for muscle recovery and joints and tissues and agility and flexibility. I mean, it's just so good for
Mm.
tissue repair. And then you get into near and red light, i.e., the colored aspect of the spectrum. Those two are so hot naturally that the only way to actually receive them into the body is to change the source and convert them to LEDs. So,
Mm.
in order to have the most effective experience on the body with near infrared and or red light, you have to have LEDs inside your sauna. So there's no other way to do it. So it would just be too hot any other way. So the near infrared is invisible and it goes the deepest, and it helps accelerate cell turnover, boost collagen, boost elastin, helps with your mitochondria, helps with brain health, helps with all sorts of different aspects. And then red does not go as deep, but it is colored. And red, bless its heart, it's created so much confusion in the industry because it's caused confusion for two reasons. Because one, it's a color, and so people get confused on colored light mood enhancement therapy. I'm going to paint my my room red, versus the transfer of infrared energy. And then it's also confusing because it's in the name of the entire spectrum. But because
Mm-hmm.
infrared, which is the name of the entire spectrum, means essentially like below red. So if you think of outside, you see a rainbow, and red
Mm-hmm.
is that exterior, right? It's the most exterior color of the rainbow. Right next to that is where it starts, like the infrared aspect, which is all the invisible stuff. So we just kind of stolen red from the rainbow and brought it inside and coupled it and enhanced it with a near infrared, because there's lots of data showing if you take the invisible light and wavelength and energy of near infrared and you combine it with red light, the infrared red light, not the colored light of red, then you can get this transformation of the skin and brain and all the things I've already talked about.
Wow.
So hopefully that provides a little bit of clarity. And again, I'll still offer up that I did at the beginning. I'm more than happy later on if people still have questions, to come back and answer all of, like, we can do a deep dive, with just red light, for example, and near infrared, because there's so much data in science with just those wavelengths, and there's a lot of confusion. But I wanted to at least give a high level explanation and the difference between colored light and the actual infrared spectrum.
No, I think it's a great explanation. I love the explanation about the panels, about it being too hot, so you have to use panels within the sauna. I'd love to dig deeper into that at one point. And truly, no, this has been really, really good information. And I think people have a lot in a way to proverbial to chew on. And to me, to see that you can get all these benefits with the infrared sauna is, to me, it's no brainer to me. I mean, for people to get an infrared sauna to be able to just heal their bodies. That's how I feel like I'm in this world of like just healing your cells. And I think it'd be great if you could come back on and we could talk about self-care. I think that would be a big hit. I think it'd be really good about that, talk about skincare too. And we could go some deep dive. So I think what we'll do is we'll ask for like some comments so we can come back on and we can do another deep dive. It's just fun. Like I like our combos. This is good because now I love learning about the ins and outs of infrared. I like knowing why something works.
Right, me too.
That's how I am. I'm pretty simple mechanical. Like I have to like kind of understand why it works. And then I really dive deep into it. And I know that I'm sorry I was behind today, but I'm just so thankful we got to meet up and
I
we
am
got to
too.
talk. And we got to set up another time for you to come on and we'll talk about like, let's do that. Like the self-care, like of infrared and such. And can you tell us where people can find you and find Sunlighten and where they can contact you?
Yeah. So for Sunlighten, I'll start there first. So you can go to sunlighten.com. You can call us at 877-292-0020. We also have chat on our website, so you can chat with somebody. You can check us out in social media on Instagram and LinkedIn and all the social channels. And we have a really large team of infrared consultants here that are well versed. And I will say, because I'll give one like little plug on that team, because it's important to me and it's important to them that they ask a lot of questions and they really try and understand what's the right fit, because we do have 4 different collections here at Sunlighten to choose from, and we really want to provide the right fit for a long term. Most people only buy one, ever, so we want to make sure it's the right one for them and their families and their lifestyles. So that's Sunlighten. For me, Connie Zack, you can reach out to me on social. I am on Instagram under Connie Jo Zack, so it's easy to find. I am on LinkedIn. I'm really easy to find, so don't hesitate to reach out. If none of those work, you can always contact Sunlighten and they'll connect you directly with me too.
I love it. Yeah, at Sunlighten Saunas, you guys just watch some of my stories and check them out and look at the story of how they change people's health and their lives. And the one thing I will say that, Connie, I really appreciate about you is that you believe what you say and yet you're passionate about it. So truly, thank you for that, for joining us today. Everybody out there, please check out Sunlighten Saunas. I really mean it. It's one of the biggest things that's really helped and impacted my health. And I want everybody to take a look into it and realize that, if you're not getting out in the sun, if you're not able to get outside, you need a little help. Anyway, so if everybody out there likes this kind of info, you want to hear more information about Sunlighten Saunas, about infrared, please send us some comments. Let us know if this is the information you like. And if you know somebody else that has information they need about saunas and infrared or red light, please send them this podcast. So Connie, thank you again for joining us today. We're going to have you on again. So there's no goodbye. So just till next time. So everybody out there, please keep us all posted about how you're all doing out there. We love you from the Ancient Health Podcast. And until next time, take it easy, be well. Thanks so much.